Hello students, now we have come to our last particular segment of the alternate tax regime. This segment students we will be doing for individual and HUF. Students, up till now, as far as the alternate tax regime was concerned, we have seen for one domestic company, another was in respect of the resident cooperative society. So these are the two categories that we have seen, and for the domestic company, the section that was being made applicable was 115 BAB and BAA. Now I am not considering BA students because we have seen that it is more or less outdated. Also, so far as the resident cooperative society students, we have seen 115 BAD, bad for resident cooperative society, BA and BAB for the domestic company. Students, I should take your attention to one very important observation because this would be our last segment of alternate tax regime. So let me bring your attention to one very important observation. When we were discussing about the cooperative society, at that point of time I told you that look, cooperative society students, the deduction, I personally feel looking into that option, those category, the main primary category of the cooperative society which we have seen, for which 100% ATP deduction is available, those type of society, they will not be opting for this 115 BAD, because obviously why they will opt? Just think logically why they will opt when they are getting 100% deduction in respect of what? 100% deduction in respect of this primary, that first category of ATP, for which they are getting what? 100% deduction on those eligible activity, which I have said to be a primary activity. And thereafter also that fishing and then the labor, also those were the part and parcel for which 100% deduction is available. So in the normal provision where 100% deduction is available, so why they will opt for this alternate tax scheme and pay at the rate of 25 point something after this loading of surcharge, which is mandatory. But in the case which is to do with that cooperative housing society, remember students the question that we have solved about the cooperative housing society. In that question we could say that yes, in those particular scenario, the cooperative society, because then there is no 100% deduction. In respect of their profit. The deduction then is restricted to that 1 lakh or 50,000 or 50,000. That is what we have seen. That is a topmost deduction for a housing society. And then maybe if they get some interest and dividend income from the investment in the other cooperative society, then in that situation they will also be eligible for that 100% further deduction. So these particular part students we have considered in our discussion so far that we have done up till now. So this is my particular finding primarily, but as I told you students, the taste of the pudding lies in the eating. Do you all agree? Yes. So you have to actually work out that option to see whether it will be beneficial or not. But on a broader note, from a macro perspective, this is what ultimately it will boil down to. What I've just spoken to you, ultimately it will boil down to this particular part. Now, coming to the second particular point, students. Second point, you all also be very careful about it. I can at least say that one category of a cooperative society, they will try definitely to take the benefit of this alternate tax scheme. And you may not even be knowing about it. Means you cannot even think about it. Any idea, students, which is that particular cooperative society who definitely will try to seize the opportunity and will try to go with the alternate tax scheme and apply the rate of 22%, provided it has got a good income. Otherwise, they will go with a slab rate of 10, 20 and 30. But in that case, if that cooperative society has a good share of the income, then they will think of opting the flat tax rate under 115BAD at 25%, point something something. Which is that cooperative society? And the answer to that is no one has got any clue of this. And students, congratulations, I am going to be the examiner of your attempt, and I am going to put across this question in your paper. And the question would be, what is the question? The question would be cooperative bank. Cooperative bank is a, we'll just what, sir, cooperative bank, is it a cooperative society? Yes, indeed it is a cooperative society. Cooperative society has got various shades. Housing society is one, consumer society is another. Cooperative bank is also one of the part. It is not something which is registered under the banking law. It is a cooperative law which prevails on the cooperative bank. And if that is the case, what happens for a cooperative bank? Do you know what happens for a cooperative bank? Let me tell you then. 3617A, provision for bad and doubtful debts. Remember those golden days? Or forgotten those golden days of PGBP, the interplay between 3617A and 44C. Remember those things? And you all be ready, students. I am going to come up with these sort of a high intensive, power packed, interlinked revision on these particular aspect for May 21, November 21. Do follow my profile, Durgesh Singh, in the Unacademy app. Do follow that profile. Very soon you will come to know a very power pack, high intensive, interlinked based revision sessions are going to commence for 40 hours. Would be a free of course, don't worry about that. But 40 hours, a very high power pack intensive revision is going to get commenced. So you definitely will love that thing. It will get spread out, and this is what the ultimate revision would be all about. You say, what is the ultimate revision? This is the ultimate revision which is required once the entire syllabus is over. Because then this is how. Cooperative society, 115BAC. Can you see this combination? 115BAD. This is the real game. So gear it up, friends. It is going to happen now very soon. Follow this my profile in Unacademy. Download this Unacademy learning app. All of you will download this Unacademy learning app, and will put across this particular thing. I'll be having the revision session for both English as well as Hindi separately. We'll be doing that way. Okay, so please don't miss this chance. It's an ultimate dose for direct tax before you head down to the grand finale. So students, to me, what I will say that the cooperative bank are the one who will be eligible, who definitely will think of taking this one. So what they will do in the alternate tax scheme. Now you say, but sir, in the alternate tax scheme, whether the cooperative bank, can they take 3617 deduction? Can they take 3617 deduction? If I'm opting for 115BAD, so what did we have referred, students? Was anywhere 3617A referred? And the answer is no. These additional depreciation and the other profit link deductions, those were the things which were being referred, but definitely not this 3617A. So definitely even in the alternate tax regime, they will continue to take 3617A, that 7.5%, and thereafter the extra 10% in respect of the advances given in the rural area, so on and so forth. So definitely those are the takeaways that would be continue to be made available to these cooperative bank, and then thereafter other deduction also taken into account. Finally, whatever is the total income, on that total income they will be subject to the tax liability, which you already now are aware of it. So this is some of the observation which I thought of just putting it before you. Thereafter, students, this is now, it boils down to the last category, individual. I also have to give you one particular table of chart which would be very important for your MCQ, students. So this kind of an analysis becomes the ultimate analysis that we have done. So the ultimate analysis is primarily what will happen once I close this thing once and for all. Let me in fact do this. If you see very carefully over here, students, the analysis of section 115BAC, what does it say? Very carefully you will say, now that is one of the most important part. Can you see individual and HUF, and this can be both for resident or non-resident. Did you got this one? And that is the reason why I was telling you now on a few point at this point of time a comparison is necessary. A comparative table becomes necessary, students, and I'll make it once I'm done with this. So please have a look. Here in the first box itself, you can come to know that this particular option is available. By the way, this particular PDF I have already given in the link in the description box. You can just also download the same. So the individual or HUF, they may be a resident or a non-resident. Whereas if you see for the company students, the option that we have seen in respect of the company, that particular option, what is that option that we have seen for a company? Perfect, students. Domestic company. Does a foreign company has the option of the alternate tax regime? No. How about the corporate society? Only a resident cooperative society. Non-resident is not there. And then finally, what about individual HUF? Both of them are there. Both of them, students, are there. Okay, so that is one part that you should always keep in mind. Now they are saying to you, students, over here, that is, individual may be salaried, retired employees, or a self-employed having business income, or any other person having any other income. Now students, see this alternate tax scheme again. This is based on the slab rate. Students, all of you, please go through the slab rate once. Quickly go through this tax rate, students. So students, if you can just see herein, one very important point which has been there is mentioned over here. Please have a look. The up to 2.5 lakhs nil, from that 2.5 to 5%, 5 lakhs to 7.5 lakhs, 10%. So at every 2.5 lakhs, students, you will find the slab rate is there. That is very important point, because in the normal tax particular regime, there we have these slab rates also. But the slab rates primarily are very much like there are only 3 slab rates. There are 3 levels, up to 2.5 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs, between 5 to 10, and thereafter 10 above. And one more important point is that if you happen to be a senior citizen or a super senior citizen, then in that scenario you will also have a higher bracket of the slab. Initial basic income limits are on a higher side. These facilities, students, are not there. These facilities are not there in the case of what? In the case of this particular, in the case of the alternate tax regime. So in the alternate tax regime, students, this particular benefit you will not be in a position to avail. You will have the normal slab rates. So it's actually a bit cumbersome. Primarily, at the end of the day, 30% starts. If you see very carefully, the 30% eventually will start beyond 15 lakhs. So that is what you are talking about it, and then whether it is worth it or not, that is one particular thing that people will have to really consider by doing the calculation each and every time, every year. So this is one particular point which has been there, which is to be considered over here. Fine, students. So now in this regard, students, one last particular point which is to be considered is other things about the rebate part which has been there. Yes, the rebate, will it be available herein? So that particular thing remains the same, because the slab rate is what has been, the base rates are already has been replaced. One point which is very important to be compared this with what we have been discussing earlier is this, that in the context of the other cooperative society or the domestic company, we have got a flat rate. We do have a flat rate of a tax. So there we have a flat rate of a tax, whereas here we have a slab rate of a tax. So that is the fundamental difference between the two, flat versus the slab rate. So that is one thing that should always be borne in mind. Thereafter, if you see very carefully, the 12,500 is the upper limit of the rebate which would be there in that particular individual rebate scheme of 87A. So the bottom line is this, that the flat rate, so the slab rate, since it is available, the rebate continues to apply, friends. The rebate in this regard will continue to apply on the tax amount, because this any case is not a final tax. So what they have done is that the base rates, this is the base rate. So the base rate is what has changed primarily, and that is the reason, unlike in the case of 115 BAB or BAA or BAD, wherein we have got a flat rate till HEC. Students, please be careful. This will be in the next distinction, and the next distinction would be, so far as the individual is concerned, whether the surcharge will it be done on a flat basis for alternate tax regime, or we have to follow the threshold. And the answer is we have to follow the thresholds. And what is the threshold? As we know, the thresholds are, we all know this thing. So this threshold, students, will have to be considered, which is 10%, 15%, 25% and 37%. And also we know that the 25 and 37% of the higher surcharge will not be applicable if your total income has increased beyond 2 crores or has increased beyond 5 crores because of these income. Which income? The income under 111A or 112A, as the case may be. So in that case, you will have to then restrict this surcharge on these LTCG rate at the rate of 15%, and the tax on the balance income, you will go for the higher surcharge of 25 and 37%. That is one thing, but that we have seen. We have seen where in your capital gains chapter also. So this kind of issue and the problems has already been discussed, students, in your CG chapter. Now please come to what is the change. Now here, students, there are two variants which you have to be careful about it. One is meant for the salaried employees. One is meant for whom? For the salaried employees. So that is one particular part, and another is meant for a non-salaried employees. So there are two variants which are being there. For one exclusively for a salaried employees, and another is for a non-salaried employees. Now if you see here in students, if a salaried employees is there, then they have to forego the following. All these 4 boxes needs to be foregone, and the total income has to be determined, and on that total income you will apply this particular slab rate which we have just discussed at this stage. What are the things? Let's look upon to it one by one, and this is such an important part here, students. Students, I feel very strongly that salary may not be important independently, but that salary would be important from what you should know. This is a hint. Students keeps asking, sir, what to do in salary? This is precisely what I will suggest to all of you, students. Do HRA, LTC, standard deduction, and some more few allowances and all. Do them. I'll just mark it towards the end, students. Let's first read this one out. So exemption under and deduction under the salary. HRA. So HRA, which, see, what they have done is that, students, a salaried employee, I'll tell you the philosophy so that you understand the larger logic of what the government have done. They have attacked on what generally the salaried employee will do. Which are the main, what are the main deductions or what are the main exemptions that a salaried employee so far has taken? So they have taken those statistical. They have extracted the statistics from the various tax returns filed by the salaried employees. So they came to know that, okay, these are primarily the various deductions and the exemptions which have been taken maximum by the salaried employee. Now just see here, students, just a mindset issue. The main deduction of the salaried employees happens to be like ATC and ATT, isn't it? Even ATG donations also is one thing that they do it. ATDD, ATD, ATTTA, all these are main deduction, main areas of the deduction. And what these people have done? They have in this context remove all the deduction which is available to whom? To the salaried employee. All the deduction of chapter 6A, except for these things which are common for your other regime also, that ATBAB and ATBBD and all. So just imagine this particular part. This is such an important part that they have removed all the deduction from ATC to ATU, and that exactly what they have done it in this regard. Okay, so they have, see, this is what these people have done it. Primarily, that they have attacked on that sort of a deduction which the salaried employee primarily consumes more. Frankly speaking, for me, students, it is very harsh. This should not have been done. At least one section, and if possible, they should have at least written two sections, if not more. Two section students, ATC and ATD. They should have written these two sections. Even in the alternate tax regime, I strongly feel, primarily, that they should have written these two sections. See, these sections are meant for what? For the social security. I am doing a PPF, for example, primarily. A person, a salaried employee, they do a PPF. They pay the LIC premium. These are something which the government should always encourage at the individual level, because they are real person. They are not an artificial entities and all. And against the real person, there are a lot of dependency of the family members are there. Just imagine this. It should be like an obligation that, look, it is like a beg, borrow, steal, but you should not forego ATC. You should not forego ATD, medical premium. So now the fact, this is where, if you just imagine, this is where the government goes wrong. The greed is something that they are in fact trying to mix up that with what is necessary, what is non-negotiable. And what is non-negotiable is medical premiums. Otherwise, you pay the medical premium the way it happens in US. Medical allowances, the government keeps on giving it to all the tax-paying citizen. See, the fact that ATC and ATD is more about the social factors. I pay taxes to buy civilization. Had I been paying the taxes in US, then what the government would have done? They would have ensured that my old age and all, it is your responsibility. Does the government of India take this responsibility? And the answer is no. So what is that particular issue? What the government have done? That, look, we will not take the responsibility. ATC and ATD is something that you need to take care of it. They have given ATC and ATD for that very purpose, that we cannot take those responsibility. But yes, what we can do is that you incur those expenditure and we give them the reduction. So this is a necessity. Government should have in fact made ATC and ATD at least in this. And then why ATJJA is then for a decoration purpose that they have kept it. I am not saying that the individual is not an employer and all, but these are more like a decorative items. What is more is the need of an hour is this ATC and ATD, and that itself is not available. Then it is not something. It's not about now. It is no longer about, students, whether I should go or no. I will, any case, will have to go for ATC and ATD. Means all the LIC have to do it. Primarily, anything happens to you, where your family will go, and if you are the own particular earning member in the family. So one thing at all level, in fact, I always keep on saying to the students that first is always that the moment you enter into it, into your earning period, the very first thing you should hit upon is a life insurance policy. First thing that you need to do, life insurance, because you never know primarily what in this COVID times and all these things, such an uncertain life and all. At least the family, the person who are dependent, they are secured. So that is the point. The government should have done this, but not there. So this is very disappointed. Well, I was very disappointed by looking into it. Not that anything to do with my particular returns and all. I can take care of all these things at my end easily, but nevertheless, but general masses, public to at large, for them, it is necessity, isn't it, students? It should be made as a culture. ATC and ATD should have been made as a culture. Now it is like people will try to say that, okay, we'll skip it. Let's skip this one. In any case, what is the benefit? If I am in the alternate tax scheme, people may not have that motivation to go for this LIC premiums and all those stuff. Anyway, that is the law. So what these people have done, I have told you. Wherever the individuals, the salaried employee, take the maximum thing. So if you know, the other part is that the house property loss. Student, HP loss, if you remember, we have seen and we have done it, is that set off is what they will do. And generally the set off, they will do it from the salary income. And always you find, see the kind of the thought which the government goes, that people when they start into a job, they take a loan. bank loan, while they are in the service period, active service period, and through that bank loan then there is an interest, and that interest which results into what? A loss. In that loss, primarily what we will say, that interest which will result into a loss, they've said that look, if you want to go for ATC, this alternate tax regime, forgo what? The set off. You will not then be allowed the set off. So that set off will not be allowed. If it is an SOP property, then we all know maximum is the 2 lakh deduction, and from that there could be a loss. And if it is an LOP property, then the interest loss would be, and there's no limit on that. The interest loss can be any amount. That interest loss, which can be any amount, that could be eligible for set off. And that's exactly what this particular point is all about. Now, coming to the first box, students, exemption and deduction under the salary. A, B, and C has been given over here. And I think all of you are aware, HRA, what is this? Actual HRA received, rent paid minus 10% of salary. What is salary, by the way? You remember there is a salary to be remembered, basic plus DA forming a part of the retirement benefit, isn't it? Plus fixed percentage on commission on turnover. So that is what constitutes your salary. On that you apply 10%. That is the second limit. Third is the 50% or 40% of salary depending upon the situation. Point number 2 is the LTC for 2 journeys in a block of 4 years. Third is the flat standard deduction. You have to forego these things. So these are the very popular standard deduction in any case, fine. So this is again this particular part, standard deduction. Point number 4. Tax on employment. Tax on employment, that is professional tax paid by the employee. Okay, professional tax paid by the employee. So that is also one of the deduction of maximum 2,500 which we used to get. We have to forego that. Special allowance. Do you know what is this special allowance? 1014. This allowance, I think that even though you have to forego it, it is children education allowance. Remember the beautiful allowance. That 50 rupees per lunch allowance. 50 rupees. That limit which I have been studying right from my CA period, and definitely my boss also have studied at 50 rupees per lunch, and then 100 rupees per month per child. All these allowances you need to forego it if you want to get this particular benefit. Uniform allowance primarily. So those are the allowances which primarily needs to be foregone. So what they have done is that the popular allowances which the employees otherwise take upon, those are the allowances which you need to give up. You say, sir, what about perquisite? Perquisite, students, they are not exempt, they are all taxable. Whatever perquisite that you have learned, be it for house property valuation, be it for motor car, all the provision that you are learning in salary are only about the valuations. Valuations is what you have learned. Perquisite is fully taxable, except for that one perquisite of the tax portion on the non-monetary perquisite borne by the employer. That is what is exempt. Only one perquisite is exempt, rest all the perquisite is taxable, which you are aware. The tax on the non-monetary perquisite, which is borne by the employer, that is exempt, 1010C. So the only allowance has been attacked here. And that is what they have done. Entertainment allowance, allowance to the MP and MLA. So these are the allowances which is directed herein. So you can just write here exemptions or deductions specifically applicable to salary taxpayer. To be foregone. And so far as this is concerned, you'll write exemption, deduction in general. In general, students. To be foregone, including the salaried class people. Because the next one we will say wherein they've got a business income. Individual having a business income, what will happen for them? That is what we will see in the next particular category. So this is about for all the other person. So That is what they have created a 2-bucket list, primary students, a 2-bucket list. And the last one is, forget it. Now, what you have achieved? That is what I was wondering when I read it for the first time. What government, what you have achieved? You should ask the question to them. And definitely, I am not boasting myself much in this case, but I can in fact counter and come into an argument with the finance minister also on this one. Maybe they may have a good access to a lot of things, but at least I also have 14-15 years of experience in this particular field only. So I can counter on this one. What is precisely they are achieving from this kind of a provision? People, okay, we will save something. And what after saving that they will do? They will then, through that saving, tax saving that they may have done it, they have to go for LIC, they have to go for PPF, they have to go for a medical premium. At the end of the day, they will go only for that. 1.5 lakhs PPF that annually you have to pay. LIC premium I will pay. So whatever tax saving ultimately I will do, I'll end up paying that. So in fact, in that way, primarily what you have given me at the end of it. So, or else you are saying that no, think of the tax benefit without considering this chapter 6A. Then that is a different story, but that is not how the life runs primarily. So this is the very, I have never been so vehement about the company part, because yes, company will have to take a call. Like cooperative society, I told you, they will see whether it is really looked up, whether really worth it. Like cooperative society, I told you right now at the start of the lecture. What cooperative society will do? They will see that if I am a primary cooperative society and I am getting 100% reduction under ATP, then I am not going to go for this one. Isn't it? But yeah, if I am a housing society, okay, which doesn't have much of ATP deduction, I get flat 50,000 only as deduction and remaining is on interest and dividend, then maybe I may think very seriously about this particular alternate tax regime. Or I am a cooperative bank, which I have told you about it at the start. I again may think about this particular alternate tax regime very seriously. Obviously, I have to do the comparison, but I will look into it very seriously. I'll at least do the comparison. So that is one thing which has been there. So for all the remaining, for the domestic company students and for the resident cooperative society, this alternate tax regime, it will make the people think about it. At least there could be a thought when to go, if not immediately. Like for example, a company which may have a very huge deductions from these negative list sections, so they will think that let's not go initially with the alternate tax regime. Let's consume every particular benefit, including the MAT credit, and once I'm done with it, then I will go to 115 BAA. Then I can think of going to 115 BAA. Then I will take that particular entry from 115 BAA. So those things can be done. So that is good. But this is something strongly, it is a big no factor, at least on this chapter 6A when it is out from the game. Maybe let's see if next year they do the amendment and all. Hopefully they listen to this lecture, which I'll try to put it in the YouTube, so that if it reaches to the finance minister, at least they should take a cognizance of this part, and if not anything else. Now, the next part, students, if you all know, it is about what? Okay, by the way, are you aware of these two things, students? I think all of you are aware of these two things. This is a family pension. 1/3 or rupees 15,000 rupees. Remember that? 1/3 or rupees 15,000. Perfect. So that is precisely what this family pension is all about. Now, students, coming on this particular part, again for an individual in HUF, now either you can go for like a normal presumptive, you are doing that, or it could be like normal PGBP that you are preparing. Now here the point is at the business income. So here is a case where I may have a business income in place. So accordingly, the business income I may have gone for a presumptive income, or I may have gone for what? This particular category. Now friends, if I am going for the presumptive income, I think that is the case wherein you have a beautiful chance, because you are not concerned with these deductions and all. You are not concerned with this deductions at that point of time, isn't it? Those deductions which is relating to the business and all, you are not concerned. At the most, here also the suffering would be that from a presumptive income, which will form part of the GTI, from that I could have claimed Chapter 6 reduction. Even from the presumptive income which will form part of the GTI, from that I will claim Chapter 6 reduction, which I may not be now in a position to claim it because of this thing. So this is again a bit of negative, but yes, presumptive income people can really think about it, because they are not bothered with these deduction. Yeah, one loss that they will have is that if they have a loss under the head house property, that loss cannot be set off against the business income, which otherwise was allowed if I would have opted for the normal provision. So these things, obviously, considering that they don't have a loss, considering that they may not have much of Chapter 6A, if I make those assumptions and then I think of an individual HUF having a presumptive income, then maybe I will say I'll put my finger on the alternate tax regime. That will give me that level of saving. So that could be the case, but otherwise any other individual who is there, who is having a business in professional income and is not opting for 44 AD, and then thereafter there are other particular aspect of losses from house property and other things are there, then they have to do that two calculation. Which are those two calculation? One, take all the deductions, incentives and calculate a tax as per the normal provision, and second, forego all the deductions and incentive and see what is the position finally. So if you see over here, interest on loan taken for self-occupied house property subject to the maximum of rupees 2 lakhs, and the second one is the loss under the head house property. So this is 1 and 2. So that is again the same thing. So no set off. So this, what we will say, no set off. Now may I say to all of you this, even that no set off means no intra-head and intra-head. Be careful. No intra and inter. So it is not that you do an inter-head adjustment and then thereafter the unabsorbed portion you are not doing inter-head. No. If there is a loss which is coming, then that loss will not be allowed to be set off. As simple as that. That loss will not be allowed to be set off. After that, the exemption, same thing. Rest of it is same. Now here only because they are into the business. This tells you that it has got a business impact. It has a business income, because otherwise this should not have been given to you. So the fact that they are giving you to this information, it is conveying the fact that you may have a business income. Students, here you can just make a note, and also restriction on set off. Also restriction on set off of UAD or brought forward business loss arising out of these deductions. Isn't this particular point we have already discussed in the company part and in the corporate society? So there also same proposition was there, that whatever is the brought forward loss and UAD which has to do with these deductions under these sections, or if the UAD has to do with the additional depreciation, because these incentives now under the alternate tax regime has to be foregone. So students, in those particular cases, those set off or the deductions will no longer be available. Fine, students. Then thereafter, important deduction under Chapter 6A, Section 80C to 80U has been referred in this regard. 80C to 80U, students, same thing, will not be allowed at all except for these couple of sections which are being there. Now I have, students, therefore after this, therefore I have given what is then left, what is then available. So you can want to go through it, you can just go through it, but this is just for your perusal. Only single reading, only one reading is what you may do it, but at least you need to remember this. This needs to be remembered. This needs to be remembered. Okay. This needs to be remembered. Now students, you will say, sir, anything in this entire list to be remembered? Yes. I will tell you in 1014 there are 3 things which is for this one. In 1014 students, just have a look to this one. Only these 4 cases of 1014. Rest we only know. So only these 4 cases of 1014. What I will say? Deduction available even in deduction allowed even in alternate tax regime. And that is how it has to be looked upon. So if you see very carefully the transport allowances which has been there, please have a look to this one. Read it quickly. These 4 items, students. So these 4 category of the allowances all generally to do with the traveling part, which is actually subject to the actual expenditure that you have incurred for the official purpose. Only this has been spared. Rest of it, students, as I have told you, they are all being charged to tax. So therefore, this is one particular part which just need to know and carve out. Okay, only this particular part. Rest of it is okay. You may read it once, but this needs to be remembered. This needs to be remembered. That is precisely the point which I just wanted to draw upon. Now students, over here, if you see, option available, this is very unique. This point also I will give you in the note side. One note I am just going to prepare for this particular point also. Option available under 115 BAC. Which is, sir, what is this option? Please have a look here. SSC does not have a business or professional income. That is the first salary category. There the business and professional income was not been discussed. So here what happens, each year after year, student, that option would be made available to you. Year after year, this option would be made available to you. Whereas if at all I have business or professional income, then the same language which has been used primarily, which has been there in the 115 BAB, 115 BAD would be there. But here students, what they are saying is that you have got one chance. What is this one chance? That, please pay attention, the one chance is for those who have got individual HUF, business and profession, they have got one chance. One chance means I have taken alternate tax regime. Then I suddenly realized, no, it is not that good for me, primarily. So next year I am taking an exit. Now, in all the other scheme, if you know students, 115 BAB, 115 BAA, or the other 115 BAD, if you make an exit, then you cannot re-enter. Here, if you make an exit, you can re-enter once. So, in a simple wording, students, this particular part I cannot say, if the alternate tax regime, ATR, alternate tax regime, under section 115 BAC is exited, then only once you can again re-enter. Re-enter. So students, I've said it other way around. I'll just rectify this particular part. I've said it other way around in this context. Just make the correction, students, over here. Please make the corrections. So here, like for any previous year, students, for any previous year, if you go for this option, any previous year, if you go for this option of what? Option of giving this particular 115B, option of offering your tax as per 115 BAC, then generally the law always say what? It says that options 1 exercise cannot be withdrawn, but here it will be allowed to be withdrawn once. So they will say that if you think subsequently that you have came here by mistake, you came in 115 BAC by mistake, and now you are feeling very suffocated, you just need to come out from this option. Fine, we will allow you to come out once. But once you have come out, you cannot re-enter it. This is exactly what the interpretation is. You then cannot re-enter it. So what I will say, if the alternate tax regime under 115 BAC is exercised in any previous year, then the person would be allowed to re-enter, to exit this option only once, and thereafter he shall not be allowed to re-enter this option. Thereafter he shall not be allowed to re-enter this option. So students, this is precisely how it will be considered. But what about the case when he does not have a business income? What about that particular case when he don't have any business income, which I'm talking about this particular part? What about that particular case, students, where he won't have any business income? So if he doesn't have any business income, in all these cases, students, he will have to keep on doing year after year. So it is like a salary income. So supposing I had only salary income, no business income is there. So then year after year I can keep on deciding whether I should go for 115 BAC or I should go for the normal provision. Year after year, he'll keep on deciding this, whether I should go for 115 BAC or whether I should go for the normal tax provision. That flexibility is there, but with this flexibility, it comes a lot of compliance headache. Compliance headache to whom? First of all, the SSC himself, because year after year he will keep the calci besides him, and he will just check whether he should go for this option or the other one. So that is one particular point that he should always consider. Second point, student, second point is that the SSC in this particular case is fine. The problem will arise on whom? On the employer. On the employer, primarily, he has to tell to the employer that whether he wants to go for this option or the normal option. And just imagine a company like a Reliance now, kind of a compliance. Every year they have to keep on asking to their employee, what is that you will be deciding whether you want to go for this option or you want to go for that option. 115 BAC or the normal. Every year by year they need to in fact ask them at the very start of it, because TDS has to be deducted on a monthly basis on the salary which would be paid to them. So this particular question needs to be asked at the start of the previous year, the financial year. Many a times you will say, sir, the employee is not decided. he is in an undecided mode. So if the employee is in undecided mode, then in that particular case, students, then in that particular case, an undecided employee will then have to, students, an undecided employee will then will lead to the employer deducting the TDS where at the normal rate. Employer will deduct the TDS at the normal rate. But does it mean that if the employer has deducted the TDS at the normal rate, the SSE will not have this option? If the employer has deducted a TDS at the normal rate, is it that the SSE will not have the option? Yes, he will have the option. This option has to be exercised at the time of what? At the time of filing of the return of income. So therefore, he will then primarily at that time he will decide what is the option that he may have to take. So he may think that okay, the employer has deducted TDS as per 115 BAC. Oh, sorry, as per the normal provision, and I want to go for 115 BAC. That is what the employee thinks. Please go ahead. Nobody is going to stop you. The employee can go ahead with that particular option. Now, students, what do you think? Supposing if I ask you a question, one more question which I'll ask you. Supposing, students, I have filed my return and I have taken 115 BAC option. 115 BAC option has been taken, students. Now I am filing a revised return, want to take the normal option. Can I do so? Can I do so if I am filing a revised return? Can I go for the normal provision again of payment of tax, or is it that now I have to go with this particular 115 BAC as per my original return? So be careful, students. And the answer is he cannot revise the return and switch over to this other scheme. Why is it so? Because please remember the language of revised return, 139 subsection 5. Are you aware of the language of 139 subsection 5? If a person who discovers what? Any omission or a wrong statement therein. Wrong statement, omission or a wrong statement. Now, exercising an option is neither an omission or could be considered to be a wrong statement. And therefore, in that case, this cannot be considered. Exercising a particular option cannot be considered as this omission or wrong statement, and therefore the ground for the revised return doesn't exist if you want to change the option. The ground for the revised return doesn't exist if you want to change the option, and that is the reason why, students, you are not allowed to change this option. Students, you are not allowed to change this option. Did you all got this one? So keep this particular point in mind, students. This is one of the things that you should always keep in mind in this regard. If you all are through with this, then, students, I will just give you one particular note which I just wanted to give you now a comparison. Students, there are a couple of questions which are being there. This I have just shown you a case study which I have taken at the time of the budget. The case study I have taken it across, so you can just go through it if you want. Primarily, through this case study, what we have done is that every employer and employee will have to really make this kind of a working. Every employer will be a different thing. Employee will have to keep on doing this working, whether I should go for this or I should go for that. Like that, primarily they need to keep on doing it. You may skip this particular part, students, if you want. And if you want to go, directly go with the small illustration, because this, I think that this can be more like an MCQ based question. This comprehensive illustration which has been there. Let's in fact take one question. Mr. DS, 50 years, a businessman. His income and deduction of the previous year 2021 is as follows. Income from business is 14,50,000. Interest on saving bank account is 21,000. Contribution to PPF annually is 1.5 lakhs. And the loss from the house property is 50,000. So this is the total details, the financials. Mr. DS wants to know whether he should opt for alternate tax regime from AY 21-22. So keep doing that working. Now there is this interest on saving bank account, and then the contribution to PPF and the loss from house property. They are all blocked. they are all blocked in the alternate tax regime. So therefore you then have to calculate a tax liability, and finally you have to work it out. See, how do you do that? If I go with the normal scheme, so this would be allowed to be set off. Yes, 50,000 of the house property loss would be allowed to be set off from 14,50,000. Income from other sources, which you can see, interest on saving bank account 21,000. Your GTI is 14,21,000. Your GTI is 14,21,000. Then less the deduction, ATC 1.5 lakhs, ATTTA 10,000. So these are the various deductions which are being given to you, and then thereafter, if you see the alternate tax regime, these are getting blocked. In the alternate tax regime, these are getting blocked. So is the loss from the head house property, and finally you get your total income. Finally, students, you get your total income, and then thereafter, in the total income, you will then start calculating the basic tax. 87A, students, although it is available even for the alternate tax scheme, however in this case it may not be available because of this reason known to all of you. And then finally you have to take a call on this basis. Now, does this person has a business income? And the answer is yes. So he has to take a call. Right now he has to be very careful. See here, 198, 432, 187, 460. Maybe a borderline case. We can therefore see, if one wants to say that no sir, 8,000 is also a good amount. Fair enough, please go ahead. In this case. Okay, so therefore that, but if you think that no, it is not that much, why should I exhaust this option? So that call you have to take it. So that is a year by year call that has to be done, which is something which has been given to you. On this basis, students, you can just also go through the same question. The exercise would be like this only, students. In fact, this is the same way we have also done for cooperative society and this one. Same particular proposition, you have to deal with this one. And then you have to take a call, which would be the better of the two. Please do this particular, two more questions are there, and just try to wrap it up. This two more questions, second and third. I actually want to now give you more important, in fact, information about the comparison, because this is a critical comparison, students. Second and third, I'm just keeping with you question 2 and 3. It's a simple one which has been there. Only thing now which I want to capture in this entire thing, three things, students. One is a chapter 6A deduction, another is a surcharge, and the third is the options. Right here, students, particulars. (115) BAB, 115 BAA, (115) BAD, and the last one is 115 BAC. So let's look upon this one, from chapter 6A. Here so here what they have said is this, that the profit link deduction in all the cases except for that ATJJAA, ATM, and this particular thing about IFSC special clause. So just I'm confirming for BAD once, and then I can at least make this as a common pitching for all of them. BAD students, BAD, the entire deduction is gone, 80 to 80U. Although 80P is what they will focus upon it, but also just be very careful. 80 to 80U is gone for BAD. So just be very careful about this particular part. For 80, 115 BAD, this is one point that you should be very careful about this particular part. I'll just put it across to you here. Please write here, student. Now, chapter 6 reduction. Profit link deduction. In part C of chapter 6A. Not available except 80JJAA. And please write here, no chapter 6 reduction. Except 80JJAA. Here, students, maybe in the bracket, please write, therefore, the deduction of 80G, 80GGA, 80GGB is available only for, I'm talking about 115 BAA and BAB. Even if the option has been exercised under these two sections. Even if the option has been exercised under these two sections. Fine, students? Are you all through with this? Now, flat surcharge at 10% on the base rate. Now, this point number 2 is surcharge. On the base rate applicable in respect of the option exercised in section 115 BAB, BAA, and what about here? The option of surcharge at the applicable rate is available if the option of surcharge at the applicable rate is available if the total income computed under section 115 BAC exceed the threshold level. The threshold level. Next point, students, is applicable is to domestic company, resident cooperative society, and the last one is, students, non-resident individual, resident or non-resident individual, or the HUF. Or the HUF. And the last one, students, is the exercise of the option. Exercise of the option for 115 BAB. Option to be exercised. This is important. In the first ROI filed for AY 2021 or onwards, and the option once taken cannot be withdrawn. This is very important, students. This is how this particular part is comparable with the other part. Which is what is the comparison in the case of the other part? So, students, I'll just let you know here end. What they say for 115 BA. Any previous year relevant to AY 2021. So here the word is any. Here the word is first. To AY 2021 or thereafter. Here also any previous year relevant to AY 2021-22 or thereafter. Any previous year relevant to AY 21-22 or thereafter. And finally, for the last one, For the last one, can you refer that particular page which you are referring across it just now? So first is this thing. Let's write it and let's finish it off. I'm just writing below for the 115 BAC. I'm just writing it below. SSE does not have business and professional income option can be exercised each year. SSE has business and professional income. Can be withdrawn only once. Again, any previous year. So students, what exactly this is different from the other thing? Why this first has been made a mention? Students, if you remember one question we have solved, in this one question we have solved, and which was that question? That question was that I have one full-fledged 115 BAB. I have modified this question for all of you and we have solved that entire question. And that year of incorporation was somewhere in May 2020. May 2020. Such company, students, whenever it got incorporated. So obviously, if it is, that's the reason why deliberately I made it this as the first year. That in that example, if you remember, in the previous class that we have done for that company, the practical one. So there deliberately I made this to be a case of 1 year. Deliberately I made this particular case for the year was 2020 only. That was the year of incorporation. By having that as the year of incorporation, I was forcing that is the year, that first year, that is becoming their first year. In that first year itself, they need to take a call. This is precisely what is the situation over here. Whereas if you see 115 BAA students, what they say, any year they can do it. So obviously that's a time when if you remember we are discussing that he should first try to exhaust his all deductions, MAT credit, and then he should go to 115 BAA. But once he is there in 115 BAA, then he cannot make an exit. That is what we have seen. The other point which is there for 115 BAD also, same thing. Any previous year. So if I think that this year ATP reduction is very better, let me take that ATP reduction and I should not go for it. Next year also I feel that no ATP reduction is better. Let me go for ATP and I should not go for it. But once any previous year I exercise this option of 115 BAD, then that's it. Thereafter, then I cannot go back. Only 1 year I have got one exit period, and that is what we have discussed just now, some time back. Sorry, that is for individual. That is for individual. Don't get into the cooperative society. For cooperative society students, they will not have any exit period. So therefore, thereafter they will take a call. Thereafter, primarily they will have to take a call. If they have to take a call on what, whether they should go for 115 BAD or not. But once they have opted for 115 BAD, then they cannot opt out. Students, then they cannot opt out. And finally, students, there is this 115 BAC, and this is what we discussed just some time back. And what is that? That SSC does not have a business or professional income, then option can be exercised each year. Option can be exercised in each year. And the second one is about SSC has the business and professional income, then primary, again the same thing. He have to take a call when he will want to get it. So any previous year, not the first year. They have not used the word first year. So any previous year I will decide if I have to go to this particular section. But if I go to this particular section, then I can withdraw from that section only once in my lifetime. Only once. Okay. But what about the case if you don't have a business and profession, you have a salary income? So last year you took 115 BAC. In this year, can you go for the normal scheme? Yes. And that year by year you can take a call on that. So this flexibility, students, is available only for this particular category. Rest of the things are there. So just be very clear about this side, because this is where they may try to manipulate the situation. Because see, everyone is only focusing on the main provision, and now with solving so much of the question, going through so much of the question, now we also have got a reasonable hold of it. But where lies the entire catch is this particular area, students. So that is it primarily, which I have told you, students, here. One last point, if you can recall, students, one last point. 115BA, I can exit to 115BAA. 115BA, I can exit to 115BAA. That exit was there. So that is the only relevance of that particular point. 115BA, I can exit to 115BAA. At the same time, supposingly, students, you are defaulted the condition of 115BAB. Which is, sir, how you have defaulted the condition of 115BAB? So the default was, I have started another business. Students, I have started another business. Remember warehousing, I gave you the example. Warehousing, I gave you the example. I was in manufacturing, plus I started a warehousing. So if I have started a warehousing in this regard, what will happen, students? If I have started the warehousing in this regard, what will happen? Then in that situation, students, we will say that there is a default of 115BAB condition. There is a default of 115BAB condition, because they are clearly saying that you cannot do any other business. But I have started a warehousing business. So what happens? 115BAB, you will make an exit. But after making an exit from 115BAB, can I enter into 115BAA? And the answer is yes. Again, I am revising these key points. These are very critical, subtle area, hidden gems which are there in this context. So that is possible. Last, students, one more point which I thought of it checking out with all of you. Please pay attention over here also. Supposingly, students, here, as we have discussed, only once he can exit this option. Supposingly. This SSE, which is having a business and professional income. This SSE, which is having a business and professional income. Okay. He has selected 115 BAC. Thereafter, his business is over. His business is over. And where his business is over, therefore the question is whether such individual or HUF can then year by year, after the cessation of business, please pay attention, after the cessation of the business, whether these individuals can go for year by year option which is available over here, and the answer is yes. So then once the business is ceased to have existed, thereafter I do have the option to go year by year calculation. That I can do it. Got it? So these are some hidden gems which I'm not saying that this is what is going to come, but these are the way you need to think about it in these kind of a provision. Okay, so if there is an exit from here, business has ceased primarily, then I can have the year by year option. And in fact, students, those who may not be like a salary income, I am a retired employee, a retired case, I don't have that salary income, so therefore there is no question of that exemption. Business is also closed. I majorly have what? The investment income. But the only factor is that ATC, that chapter 6, that is the only painful thing, students. Otherwise, this scheme would have been a big hit. I'm telling you. But so therefore now it is only academically it is relevant for your examination purpose. Only now it is relevant. Rest of it, it's not that great. And yes, in one case it is relevant, and that is 44 AD. 44 AD, 44 ADA primary, and that is a kind of a section where these things can come into play. That I'm opting for this section because once you opt for this section, only that the hardship is this chapter 6A. But apart from that, yes, if there is only chapter 44 AD, then it makes a lot of sense to really look very closely this option of 115B AD, very closely. So there can be a situation where students, you may be targeted a question on what? A question which is on 44 AD, 44 ADA combined, means they will do 44 AD, 44 ADA, and they will take you to what? That you are selecting the option of which option? Option of 115BA, 115BAC, that option you have selected, and thereafter they will also force you to calculate the interest. 234 ABC. Remember there was couple of questions that we have done in PGBP. One was in profession was Dr. Juhi, and for business also some person's name. So your 234 ABC calculation would be based on the tax that you are calculating as per 115 BAC. This kind of a question or this kind of a combination is the game that they can play it across. I'll design these kind of a questions for all of you once when we kick off the 40 hours intensive revision series. So students, I am again repeating, just in my profile in Unacademy Primary you will find CADS. Just follow that profile, and I'll be very soon going for announcement. One more point which I'll just for your listening students, my code is CADS. So anytime if supposedly the video has to be open and if they are asking the code, okay, if they are asking the code, anything, so please put across this code, okay, CADS. And maybe somebody who wants to do a subscription of our lectures which are there, for that also you can use this code, because that way you can get a discount on the same. Okay, so just keep in mind this little code. Now students, very quickly you will just do those two questions which are being there, 2 and 3. Students, just go through these questions primarily again, just for the purpose of practice. They will not ask you this kind of a question this way, but at least it will open up your mind. Okay, that will be sufficient enough, and that should be all. Okay students, see you then. Take care. I'll see you soon in the power packed revision session for May 21, November 21. Please do spread the word as well. Thank you very much.